Hubbler. My name is Easy. I'll be your host for today. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening again, in case for the people that just joined us right now. This is our very first episode of Product Talks, and today we have this hosted by Hubler. Hubler is a company where we solve enterprise grade business problems where we can help you build your app without a tech team. So if you don't have the investment right now to go through the strange and mysterious ways of DevSecOps, we got your back. So today, to kickstart our episode, we have a guest who needs no introduction. Nevertheless, he has joined us for our first episode. He is the Senior Vice President of Hotstar, and he has product leadership in deciding what is the best OTT catalog for management. So we will be introducing Nilabh Pandey to us.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Nilabh, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So today we just wanted to get to understand, a little bit about, what you do and, how you face daily challenges and how you solve them. Thank you for joining us. Would you like to give ourselves a quick introduction?
First of all, pleasure being here and would love to share whatever I can with you folks. Prior to that, for a decade, I was in e-commerce, worked with companies like Walmart, Amazon, Flipkart, Coupang was the latest. Prior to that, also I was with Cisco for around 6 years, where I worked on video and both OTT as well as satellite. And prior to that, I was an engineer. Recent past, I've worked a lot on the content management side. I think that is what will be the focus area for us today as well. Yeah, so again, I would love to share whatever I know about that with the larger set of audience.
That's awesome. Welcome again. So we'll be talking around catalog management and learning how we can leverage it to make big waves in the e-commerce business. We have a couple questions. Are you ready to get started?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead.
All right. So to the people that have just joined us, again, this is our very first episode of Product Talks, and here we sit with the brightest mind in the world of product, and we discuss what are the challenges they face daily and how we overcome them, and really putting in that work in to come to the last mile to double down on your wins. So question number one today, Nilabh, would be, what's catalog management and how is it business critical?
So catalog, if you just have to visualize, first of all, it's a virtual representation of the physical product, right? Which will essentially be represented by text, images, and videos. And videos will be of, let's say, what the product is all about, what are the how-tos of that, do's and don'ts. So that's essentially a catalog for you. And when you have multiples of products, you create virtual representation of all of them. Now, if you were to compare that to the offline world, if you go way back, you will have those bespoke product creators for you. So they will show you the album of photos in which you will glance through them, and then they will help you create one such product for you, right? So that is one sort of a catalog that used to be. Or if you try to see like showrooms versus the wholesale. So in showrooms, you will have certain pieces, and then they will have a booklet in which they will have all the other pieces that they can sell you, right? So now what we are creating in e-commerce world essentially is a parallel of that. Obviously, there is no touch and feel, right? It's just the read and visuals that we are creating, but that is replacing that offline world of where people go, touch, feel, see, ask questions, get to know about the product and purchase that. So that is where catalog management comes into play now. You have a catalog and you need to manage that. And when I say manage, basically the creation of it and serving of it, these are the two big use cases of it. So this journey of a product through an e-commerce lifecycle or any other lifecycle is called catalog product management. Second question you had, how it is business critical, right? So as I said, it is, so since there is no touch and feel now, this is the only thing on which people are relying to make a purchase decision. So it's very critical from that purpose. If you do not have the information that people need to make a purchase decision in the way that they understand, then having this entire catalog is of no use, right?
Absolutely.
And hence it is very, very critical for us to ensure that the information of the product is in the right form, consumable form for the kind of customer you're reaching out to. And that's why it becomes business critical. Also, within the e-commerce space, it sits at the center of all the systems that we create, right? Be it the internal systems or external systems. When I say internal, external, I mean systems which sit behind the scenes to ensure that the end-to-end process of user journey and order journey are through those systems, plus the systems which are interacting with the customer, right? You're landing on a home page, you're doing searches, you're landing on browse pages, so all those things like cart checkout, all of that, they all interact with catalog. So it's a central piece which is source of truth for all the information about the product. So it's one of the most business critical pieces in the overall journey in the product.
Awesome. Just want to throw a question out of left field here. So when you're creating a catalog, right, what would be the top 5 things that run into your mind? It doesn't have to be specific, but something that naturally should be there in the process when you're creating catalogs.
So when we are creating catalog, obviously you need information. That is the key. And in what all forms you can have that information is what you have to think of, right? Catalog are also interacting with a lot of stakeholders, if I may, right? So on one side, you have sellers who are trying to sell their product. So when we are creating catalog, we need to think of, how sellers are going to interact with my system. Now, once they have interacted with my system, I need to ensure that whatever product is coming inside is up to the mark or up to the product quality level that I have set. So you need to have all those measures to ensure that the product that has come in is holding to that bar, right? Third thing, when it has come inside now, what I'm gonna do with that, right? So that layer of storing the information and perhaps enriching the information, that is another piece that you need to think of. And fourth is now customers are the ultimate end user for which you have done this entire service. So how are they going to consume this information? That is another big piece that we need to solve for, right? So if I were to just say what are top 4 things, it will not be top 4 things, but these are the top 4 streams in which you will have to think of, and then you will come up with multiples of products in each of these streams.
Interesting. I like that answer. So there is definitely a methodological approach, right? So let's move on to the second question. What is the role of a product manager? I think you kind of explained it, but what is the role of a product manager to drive catalog for any e-commerce or any other companies generally?
See, in general, if you see product managers, right? So every company has a vision, and you need people who are there to drive the entire focus towards that vision, and that is a product manager. So each product manager in their space, they are trying to see how do I keep everyone's focus to a larger vision that the company has, right? And when I bring that back into, let's say, a catalog, here, as I said, there are 3 main players that we have. The customers essentially who need the product or to whom we are selling the product. Yep. There is a supply side, right? So this is your demand side. Then there is a supply side where the sellers are coming and selling the product. And third is the platform itself, right? So for all 3, you as a product manager will have to empathize. You will have to empathize with each one of them and then build products for them. So if I talk about seller, what will they need? They will need a very easy system to interact with, wherein whatever products they have, they should be able to just create a virtual representation of that, and they should start getting their first sale. How do you enable? That is the prime goal that you have, right? When it comes to platform, what is the cost of creation of this catalog? As a platform, you would want that to be minimal. And second, how much information you have gathered, right? That should constantly keep increasing. So as a platform, you need these 2 things in addition to the intelligence that you can drive from all the creation and conversion that is happening. So what is the intelligence you can drive from that? That is what at a platform level a product manager will start thinking of. And third thing, obviously at a consumer level, there is no end to which you can go. Constantly the consumption behaviors of people are changing. So you need to be constantly on your toes, know about your customer for a particular category, what is their consumption pattern, create products accordingly, right? And create visualizations accordingly. The product page on which person comes and looks at the product, it cannot be static anymore as it used to be, let's say, 3-4 years ago. So for every customer, like Easy likes to purchase in a different way as compared to a Nilabh. Hence, it doesn't make sense for a system to show the same page to both of us with the same information. It has to be dynamic. How do we do that? What kind of information will be needed from a catalog to serve that need? So this is how this entire chain is entangled, and this is what a PM drives in a catalog.
Awesome. So to summarize, basically you start with the intelligence. So you figure out what the target audience is, you figure out what you're going to do, you figure out all the the available luxury that you have to build such a tool. And then from there you would actually go to personalized experience. So for different customers, they would like to see different screens, they like to see different content, etc. So coming on to the next question, now you're gathering intelligence about all these aspects about how do we make our product better, right? And for a big company like Hotstar, is scale any consideration here? And how is the technology, how does it help managing the scale?
So, I mean, OTT is a different space, and perhaps, without touching that, if we talk about e-commerce alone, because that is where this problem is even bigger, like, the catalog management and scale, like, runs endlessly, if I may, right? It runs into billions of products for most of the companies. That is where the real scale is. And in that space, if you see, there are multiples of the chain or the supply line that I spoke of, right? Where you have this scale as an implication. First of all, the number of people you are interacting to on the consumption side as well as from the supply side. That is one of the big things that you have. Second, the products themselves, when they are coming into your platform, it's a big number, right? So that is another scale limitation that you have. Third, now when these things are coming in, obviously you do not want to put everything onto the platform. You definitely need to abide by the law of the land, what kind of products you need, so on. So there's a lot of QC that happens of all these products that come in. That is another thing which is impacted by scale a lot. And thing that I touched upon little earlier, now when these billions of products are there on our platform, how do we enrich them, right? I cannot expect sellers to provide all the information. So I will want to enrich them, and that is where, again, doing that at scale is a different ball game altogether. And last but not the least is essentially the delivery, right? So all these products need to be delivered for a particular need. So out of these billions, when you come looking for, let's say, a white shirt that you're wearing right now, I need to search in these billion and be able to provide you that, right? So that delivery is another challenge for me. That's a consumer-facing delivery, by the way. And as a catalog being the central piece, consumer is not the only place we are delivering this information, right? As I said, there are a lot of internal systems as well to which we are delivering that information. So ensuring that they also get a very structured output of these billions of products is another thing wherein scale comes into play. And how that scale changes the way you think, if you go on that line, essentially, what you will see is that initially when any e-commerce is coming up, or if it is a highly curated e-commerce platform, or it is a vertical, like a cosmetics platform or a furniture's platform alone, it doesn't give you that kind of an ROI to deploy tech, the latest tech that is there, let's say ML and AI. And you try to do a lot of things through manual, the human in the loop kind of setup that you have, where humans come and they do all of this. They can actually look at all the products that are coming in. They can directly engage with the sellers who are there on your platform. They can actually go research internet and provide that information which seller did not provide for each of the product that we are selling. And similarly, the overall space of products is pretty less. So searches and recommendations are also not that big of a problem for you. So they are taken care of because of the information that has come in. But when you get into these billions of products, it's the ROI tends to go down, right? You cannot have an army of people sitting and doing all these things on a daily basis, right? And that is where machine learning and AI, latest technologies that are there, they help a lot. And we have advancements in both these places. We have, so essentially two main things are there, right? So you have text information and you have visual information. So in both of these spaces, a lot of advancement has happened, and a lot of people are trying to solve these problems. So you have a lot of NLP engines which are there out, who help you make sense of descriptions that are put into product information, or the titles that are provided into the information. You can extract key information from these and provide that as structured, So let's say a seller writes, hey, I am selling this white shirt which is made of silk, and it is created in this place, this is the brand name, and so on. Now if I deploy NLP on that, it can exactly get me those 4 keywords that I was looking for: white shirt, cotton or silk, and place of manufacturing and brand, right? So I get this information and I provide that to a consumer on the product page itself, that these are the top key things for this, right? So this is what text engines are doing. And similarly, there are computer vision models who have come now. Information which is, let's say, is not available in text, it will be able to give you. Let's say the shirt that you're wearing, I'll be able to say that it's a white in color, it has this kind of this kind of collars, it's a full sleeve, whatever I can see of you. I'm assuming that it's a full sleeve right now, but yeah, the models will be able to do these things for you without any human intervention, right? And similarly, same models can also help you do QC, like quality check, that is there anything objectionable in the image that I'm seeing or the text that is written, right? So all those things can also be done. So that is what I'm saying. So as you scale, essentially technology becomes a product manager's best friend. And there are a lot of I would say non-organic places where you will find, like, the computer vision technology that I'm talking about. A lot of that advancement is happening, let's say, in the security domain, because that is where they're trying to do a 5x, 6x of the images that they are able to see on a CCTV. So how do they denoise that image, make a very, very recognizable pictures out of them? Same technology we can deploy in e-commerce, right? Absolutely. So as a product manager, now you need to look across the domains. It's not just e-commerce with the blinkers that you need to see. You need to look across the industries in that technology, what is happening, and then you can use that into whatever stream that you're working in. I hope that answers.
Interesting answer, definitely. So one thing, just quickly about adopting machine learning and artificial intelligence to help answer intelligent questions. A while back, I don't want to name the organization, but there was a customer. She buys certain things from the organization, and immediately the customer's father receives a text message saying, "Hey, you need to buy XXX," and it happens to be that the father was surprised that his daughter has a baby. So this company was successfully able to predict, based on the products she was buying, what she would need next, and pre-planning also. So this helps in the course of not only like you said, product management in e-commerce, it broadens the factor, right? So in terms of adapting this technology, do you think that you should start off by influencing the data sets, or should you let the data sets influence you? Because you need big data to arrive at this solution, right? So it couldn't be siloed, everything has to be centralized. So what's your take on that?
See, initially journey starts, all the businesses, they are essentially there to make money. I am sure you will agree with that, right? And initially, whatever technology or the product that you are developing needs to fulfill that need for you to be sustainable. So initially, when we start, we have a vision, a goal. We use data when we hypothesize. We use data basically to validate that. And then we create models to help us achieve that vision. As you progress, however, this model that you have created will not be able to cater to your needs always. The reason is, as I said, customers are constantly changing. Whatever was delight yesterday is a hygiene today. If you don't have that, you're out of picture, right? So as you go forward now, it's not that you are influencing the data sets or centralizing that. You need to get into a different space of, there's a different kind of learning that is there, right, for models. Which is called reinforced learning. In that, what happens is that the data set is not limited to what you're giving. It keeps getting an automated feedback, and it keeps evolving itself. So it is a phase, basically. Both the things that you said, it starts with where you want to gather the data, go yourself, gather the data and train a model. Once a model is trained, then you get into a space of reinforced, and wherein the model keeps developing itself. So it's a journey, I would say.
Awesome. So let's get to our next question. What is the biggest challenge in product information management? The biggest.
Correct. So I mean, when you say biggest, I will definitely like to mention a few, like, and I have spoken about that. So let's say the entry barrier for the sellers is one of the big problems to solve for. In terms of information management, right? Getting all the information for the product is another challenge. Should I get it from the sellers themselves, or should I deploy AI and ML or humans to do that? That is another big challenge. Duplication is one of the biggest challenges, wherein duplicates of the same products are there, and from a consumer's perspective, if I search for blue t-shirt, and I'll just change the example, so it shouldn't be the same product all over the page, right? So you need to see a different product. So all the products which are same need to be clubbed together. So that is called a duplication problem. But the biggest problem that is there is freshness of the data. Right? How do you ensure that over time your data of the catalog is not stale? You're not still selling what was there 6 months back, though the customers have moved on to newer consumption patterns or the newer products altogether. Right? So that is one of the biggest challenges that any company needs to solve for. And the only way to solve for is the constant feedback system that you need to develop, right? As I said, I mean, when you go at scale, obviously it is machines which are doing a lot of work, and machines know what they know, right? Yeah. Unless you get into a reinforced model of learning, which are very costly to build, by the way, you will not get the right kind of AI or the freshness of the data. So usually what happens is you deploy humans for this kind of a feedback. So humans do an offline or online some sort of a search curation. They come back with new data, and then they help you to keep the data fresh. And also, ML solutions are not completely apt for e-com or any other business, because not 100% of the business is happening online. There is a lot of things which are happening offline, right? How do you get that information? So for that, you need actually humans. And actually, fresh is one of the top use cases for what you're talking about. Fresh, when I say, these vegetables, meat, all this fresh stuff, which has a very limited shelf life, right? A lot of that business happens offline. And right. There are so many things, nuances that are there. Like if I talk about oranges, I'm sure you go to offline malls to buy that. On a Wednesday, there is a different price. On a Saturday, Sunday, there is a different price. And obviously on a Friday, there is a different price. And it is based on the number of days it has stayed there in that basket that it is there, right? How do you emulate that model online? It is next to impossible. Where it is coming from, an apple from Shimla versus an apple from New Zealand. Apple is apple, right? But the prices are different for that. And so on and so forth. So Fresh has a very unique, and similarly, there are a lot of other cases as well, which force you to deploy offline models to get that feedback with which you can keep the data fresh. But this is one of the things which is like very interesting to solve for, and it's one of the biggest challenges for any company.
Interesting. So I'm going to open up the questions in the chat. We have some interesting questions. I think you kind of answered the first question, but we have a question from Bindu, and it says, what are critical success factors to measure the success of the catalog?
So two things. Basically, see, again, there are multiple touch points that are there on which you can measure the success. But if I talk about the ultimate goal of any system in an e-commerce, it is to make money, right? And money can be made by two ways. Either you help the overall pipeline convert, or which is the top line, or you help save money, which is the bottom line. And both these places, we have metrics with which we can help us. So how much we are able to attribute to conversions is one of the metrics which we partner with in the entire chain, and product page is one of the places where 80 to 85% of the information basically comes from catalog. So that is one success factor that you can deploy there. I'm only talking about output metrics right now. I can come to the input metrics as well. And another one is in terms of the bottom line, right? So in bottom line, what are the things that you can do? One of the biggest thing obviously is the cost of cataloging, but second most important thing is returns, right? Because returns depend mostly on the information that was present in a wrong way or was not present at all, and that information you can get back from the return reasons that you are catching, right? So these are two basic output metrics that you have. In input metrics, if you are looking at coverage is one of the biggest input metric you have, in which you are trying to see how much information is available for most of the products that are available. So depth and coverage are the two metrics that we look for. There is another metric which comes from a search perspective, which is in terms of relevance, but it's very difficult to track. So I would still say that go with depth and coverage as the input metrics.
Awesome. So Bindu, to summarize, at a very bird's eye view, if it's not making the bag, it's not working, right? But individually you have input and output, where you have individual metrics where you define the success factors. I hope that answered your question. Thanks for asking, and chat, you can keep them coming. I'd like to move on to the next question. What are the opportunities of creating direct business impact?
So I think I just touched upon that, right? As I said, conversion and bottom line. So top line, bottom line, these are the two things where you can directly make impact. And actually, I can take a couple of examples, perhaps that will help us understand that better, right? So
we can put this into perspective. So without the end user in mind, let's talk about day to day in your shoes, right? So from a product management perspective, what would be what would you do to directly, impact the business positively? So of course we kind of touched that in the beginning, but right now in the methodological approach.
Yeah. So that's where I was coming down to. So let's say we pick up conversion as one of the things that as a product manager I want to drive from catalog, right? And that is where I would like to take an example. Let's take category based examples here, right? So fashion is a category which is highly visual in nature. So by default, it makes sense to a lot of product managers that I should deploy a lot of images with which immediately people are able to see the product, because there are a lot of facts in terms of visual versus textual. I'm sure most of the people will know, but like our brain can process an image in around 13 milliseconds, which is like 60,000 times faster than text. This is and when we did surveys and a lot of studies are there, so 70+% customers would want to see some sort of a visual, be it a video or an audio, video or an image. And in terms of conversions also, if you are deploying video, there are 80+% chances of them converting. So all this information is available for us. Now for, as I said, for fashion, it is by default comes to this is a visual category. People just want to see a lot of images, how it looks on different models and so on. That is intuitive. But if you look at a different category segment, which is, let's say, GM, general merchandise, right? Or let's say electronic. Now these are text spec heavy categories. A lot of text will be there. Now as a product manager, it is on us. We know that people consume images faster and can remember them longer. They can influence them more. How do I convert this text into either an image or even more effective video? That is what you need to come up with, right? And help people buy. Now, what are the key questions that a person will ask when, let's say, they are trying to buy in electronic? Basically, if somebody is trying to buy a TV or a fridge, what are the key questions they are going to buy? How do I answer them in the format, let's say, again, of a video or an image? These are the kind of things you will have to come up with to influence the conversion. That is one place how you will do it. Second example, if I have to take, now normal people, how do they consume information and come on an e-commerce platform and search for something? Now somebody coming and writing, hey, I need a summer shirt. That's the string somebody has searched, versus somebody comes and says, hey, I need a floral white cotton shirt. What is easier, or what is that will come naturally to a person is a summer shirt. But if you look at traditional catalog, it always was a factual information store. You will always store the last three things that I spoke of, right? You will say it's a white cotton floral shirt.
Mhm.
You will not say it's a summer shirt. So
Right.
that is called semantic world. So how do you transform your factual information into semantic information? Again,
Mhm.
like somebody writing, I need a wedding lehenga versus somebody writing, I need a red skirt with golden work. That's very different and difficult for somebody to know that I need to type this. So you need to make it intuitive for people to
Mhm.
find what they want. So discovery you can impact. And
Right.
second, once they've discovered, how do you ensure all the information is available for them, which will influence them to buy
Mm.
that, right? That is one. And ultimately, the goal that we are going towards is that we want to make the product as realistic as the offline world was. So basically, blur the line between online and offline. So keep asking that question: can we make it better? And as we move forward, a lot of AR-based systems are coming into play now, and especially when I talk about these same heavy and bulky category, which is electronics, one furniture, and so on. AR is coming as a big aid to all the product managers and techies alike. You can use that. You can tell people how it's going to look inside their houses and so on. So that is another tangent on which now you as a catalog manager can start influencing. Like how do you create 3D objects of that and so on. So I think these are the spaces on which, from conversion perspective, if you start thinking, this is a direct business impact that you can create.
Excellent. That was amazing. So, just to summarize, basically, you understand the product. You figure out, how to tell the story, whether it's through graphics, design. Make sure that you convert boring text, into infographics. You want to make sure that you have customer retention, right? And then you're also gathering data from what the customer wants to influence conversion. So, I think your main point was influencing conversion and then changing the factual info into semantic info. So for example, for your warehousing, it might make sense for you to call it detailed, like, floral shirt size, this, etc.
Right.
The customer just wants, a Hawaii shirt or whatever, a summer shirt, right? So that's very interesting. We have one more question from Rishi Jha. Any specific tools or platforms that makes catalog management easy? Ooh, this is interesting.
See, catalog management in itself. So if you can elongate the term and you can say it's not only catalog management but information management, right? Or product information management. So PIM is another term which is used. Product information management, that is a bigger set. A content management system sits at the center of it, and these CMS, we call them, right? It's content management system. These are the heart of this entire thing, and they either you can create, which most of the companies do, or you can buy. It's a build versus buy. You can define what stage you are in. So that is one of the key platforms that you need, basically, without any intelligence, just a CMS which will help you manage your catalog. And now everything else beyond that starts coming. So when it comes to seller side of the world, how are you engaging with them, right? So the entire ingestion path can be one platform, right? You create ingestion pipelines, basically. Those are one, and seller engagement system. So these are two basic platforms that you will need on the supply side. And when it comes to your the platform itself on which you are storing the information, another key thing which people should invest in going forward is information extraction systems. If you remember, I said whether we need humans to gather information online and enrich the products that we have rather than asking sellers, or should we deploy machines to do that? So when machines are doing it, basically it's information extraction systems. They have both text and visual models available. So they will extract information from text as well as from visuals, which is both, basically, right? You have images as well as videos. So from that they can extract information. That is one of the key things we should invest on. QC of the products after everything has come in is another key thing. And QC platforms either again are manual or automated, so we need to invest on them as well. I'm sorry, it's a long list. It's not a small list of things that it's a domain in
Please
itself.
do tell. Yes.
So this is essentially, now you have interacted with the supply side, got them inside. You have created virtual representation. You have QC'd them. You have enriched them. Now people need to consume them. And consumption side, as I said, there are two. One is the end customer who is going to buy these products, and there are other products as well within the tech stack which are going to consume it. Everybody has a different need for consuming this, right? And they have a different way of consuming it. So if as a catalog system I force taxonomy on them, it's not good. So you need to have a taxonomy platform essentially, which helps you create multiples of views for different needs, right? So a product page will consume differently, search and reco will consume differently, accounts team will consume differently, a warehouse team will consume your data differently. So for all of them, they can have their own views rather than you creating n number of systems for each of them to come and consume from you. So I will say these are basic platforms that are there, but again within CMS there are plenty of things that can be done. We have just touched the tip of the iceberg. Basic cataloging in itself has a huge potential in terms of how many variations we can deploy in them, which is a binary thing, like every information has to be available upfront, or you can have a gradual upgrade process, so on and so forth. So all these are ripe for a lot of variations, but these are the basic systems that at least you will need to be successful in catalog management.
Thank you. So I guess we're not alone in this struggle to make the best, product catalog in terms of management. I hope everybody that's joined found this insightful. From what Nilabh was saying, definitely how you approach product management, all the way from shortening the feedback cycle of understanding what the end user wants, and then going back to the product and keep on reiterating it. So, anything else you would like to add, Nilabh, for our podcast today?
So I can talk about product management in general. I'm sure a lot of folks would have joined in, and there was a question that came from you in the beginning, and I will probably try to keep it specific to catalog, but in general also. Key 3 to 4 things that we spoke of are applicable across, guys. So keep the focus on the bigger vision, empathize with each of the customers for which you are building the products. A lot of stakeholders rely on you, so stakeholder management is a key for any product manager. So empathize with your customers and do a very good management on that front as well. And the bread and butter for which you are kept into the system is prioritization. So don't be scared and afraid of doing ruthless prioritization. That's the only way you will be able to keep the focus. Learn to say no, do ruthless prioritization, and you and your organization will be successful.
Excellent. Thank you so much again, Nilabh, for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for our bi-weekly session of Hubbler Product Talks. If you're someone who has an enterprise-grade challenge, we are here to help you. So we eliminate the entire DevOps cycle for you. If you're just logging in, you can go visit us at hubbler.app. It's down below. Or you can drop us an email at sales@hubbler.mobi. So thank you again for joining us. Nilabh, that was great talking to you. You have a wonderful day.
Same here. Good luck, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.